In today's case, we're in the middle of a tense eviction situation where a woman is openly insisting that the rules don't apply to her at all. Her argument? She claims she's living on sovereign land, and therefore eviction laws simply don't have any power over her. From the very beginning, there's clear confusion and frustration in the room. What should be a straightforward legal process quickly turns into a standoff over authority, rules, and reality itself. And as the situation unfolds, it becomes clear this isn't going to be a simple case of signing papers and moving on. It's heading straight into conflict.
Sheriff's office, start eviction! Sheriff's office, here to serve eviction for everybody inside this residence. Okay, we're serving eviction. Open up the door, ma'am.
I'm not getting an eviction from nobody. I've been here for 20 years. I'm not evicted. You go through a process. I haven't been through no process. Can't nobody just come up here. My name is Miss Green.
Okay, Miss Green, Deputy Sutton. We post a notice on your door.
That's not, it said unknown. I'm a known person. I don't know what that means.
Miss Green, is anybody else in there with you?
My grandson is in here with me.
Okay, how's your grandson?
He's 19.
19. Okay. Why didn't you go to the courthouse when the notice was posted on the door?
I'm not an unknown person. I'm Zoanne Green. I've been here for 20 years. They don't have no contracts with me to be doing nothing with anyone. So I don't know why they're here talking about they can evict me and all this stuff. So you go past foreclosure to evict, to get no. Listen, this is a scam, and the bank is a scam.
This is where things really start to fall apart. Not because the law is unclear, but because someone has been convinced that the law simply doesn't apply to them anymore. In this situation, the idea being pushed is the so-called sovereign citizen argument. The belief that you can opt out of legal and financial responsibilities just by declaring yourself outside the system. But in reality, that's not how any of this works. What often happens next is a predictable chain reaction. Someone gets influenced by online videos or so-called guides, promising a way out of debts or mortgages. They start believing that if they reject the system can't touch them, even when they've signed legally binding agreements years earlier. And that's the part that always gets ignored. Because behind every mortgage or loan, there's a contract, usually one that's been honored for a long time before anything goes wrong. Payments have been made for years, sometimes decades, until suddenly they stop. From there, things escalate quickly. Banks don't just disappear, and legal obligations don't vanish because someone decides they no longer recognize them. The reality is, the system continues to move forward. Notices are sent, deadlines pass, and consequences begin to stack up. At the center of it all is a costly misunderstanding. The belief that declaring yourself outside the system cancels out agreements you willingly entered into. And when that belief meets real-world enforcement, it rarely ends the way people expect. What looked like a shortcut out of financial trouble usually turns into a much deeper legal and financial mess. One that's far harder to escape than the situation they started with.
And so they don't have no jurisdiction over me. I'm indigenous to this land. This is my property. I've been here. That's why they can't touch me. Now this person comes over here talking about, oh, I just purchased this house from an auction with no paperwork in his hand. He just called. I could have killed him. You don't come up to nobody's home talking about what you got. You ain't got nothing in your hand. You just talking. Like, who the fuck does that?
I don't know. Maybe someone who wants the house they own back.
If I'm supposed to be evicted, my name is not unknown. Everybody knows it. The light bill has been in my name for 20 years. I have been here. This is my home. Okay, can't nobody buy somebody's home off from under them if they don't have no paperwork or no nothing.
Okay,
That's not right.
Ms. Green.
So you can't evict me for nothing.
Well, my question to you, Ms. Green, why didn't you go to the courthouse?
Because the papers say unknown. I'm not an unknown. If you have something, I've been, all my neighbors know me. I'm part of the neighborhood watch. Why is my name not on any paperwork? Explain that to me. I'm not unknown. I'm very known. So I don't know what kind of eviction you're doing, but it's illegal, and you can't evict
I'm
me.
doing a court order, ma'am.
Well, I don't know what court order, what name is it under?
It's under 3718.
That's not a name, that's an address.
At that point, the reality of the situation becomes very clear. No matter how someone labels themselves, the law applies to the property and everyone living there. The address in question isn't exempt just because someone declares it so. And if the sheriff is allowed to finish explaining the process, that's exactly what would be made clear. The order applies to all occupants at that location. Not just one person's interpretation of their status, but everyone physically living in the property. That includes anyone trying to separate themselves from the situation with legal-sounding labels or personal beliefs about being outside the system. The enforcement doesn't work that way. It's tied to the property, the court order, and the people present at the time. And this is usually the point where things stop being theoretical and start becoming real-world consequences. Because once enforcement arrives, arguments about identity or status don't pause the process. The eviction proceeds based on the order itself, not on how the occupants choose to describe themselves. What often starts as a confident refusal to accept the situation quickly turns into a harsh realization. The legal process continues regardless of disagreement, and everyone at that address is affected by it.
Let me explain to you, Ms. Green, while I'm here. And the court order was signed by the judge saying to do the eviction.
For who?
I'm just explaining to
Okay,
you.
go ahead.
It's for the property.
No, you can't evict.
You
Really?
tell me
So you
no,
think you
you want
can
me to
come
read it?
here and evict somebody off of a property and you don't even have their name?
Okay. It doesn't require me to have a name. You want to read this portion?
Are you fucking serious, dude?
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna let you read this.
I don't need to read none of that. I don't want to read it. It don't have nothing to do with me.
It has to do with this property. It says
This is my property under my name. You don't even have a name on
the
there.
screen.
So I'm not leaving my property.
I get the frustration in what you're pointing at, but it's worth keeping the framing grounded. In real life, these situations don't come down to slogans or bravado on either side. They come down to enforceable court orders. If a judge has issued an eviction order, it's backed by a legal process that law enforcement is required to carry out. That's the key difference. One side is a personal belief system, the other is a legally binding ruling. Escalating it into who has guns or turning it into a confrontation mindset isn't really how these cases are supposed to be understood, and it tends to miss the actual issue. Most of the time, what matters is the paperwork, the contract history, and the court judgment, not the rhetoric people bring into it. And in practice, once it reaches enforcement, the outcome isn't decided by attitude or confidence. It's decided by whether the order is valid and active. That's what drives the process forward, regardless of how anyone involved chooses to describe the situation.
State of Florida, which we're in, to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, which county we're in.
So you're gonna throw me out of my house right now?
I have no choice, ma'am. This is what the
Really?
court order says, yes.
Y'all are come throw all my shit out there. Since you're gonna do that
So it says-
to an indigenous
So
person
it
of this
says,
land, so you go
to
do
remove
it.
all persons.
You're not removing me from my property. So you about to take me out of here? How?
Voluntarily, preferably.
You listen. I'm telling you, you're not removing me out of my property.
Okay.
I'm not leaving. So
Okay. We don't want to take you to jail, Miss Green.
really, you.
Right.
This is pathetic. Y'all are something else, and
We
God
don't
will
wanna-
deal
we
with
don't
you.
wanna get to that
God
point.
will deal with you.
Okay.
I'm not leaving my house. This is my property. You walk up here with a guy. What is he
I'm
doing?
walking up
Who is
there-
that
I'm
white
walking
man
up there
coming
with
up
the
here
court
trying to
order.
take black people's
I'm
homes?
walking
Wait, me? What the fuck did I do?
up here with the court order.
No, you walked up here with a guy with no name on no paper.
You keep one certain.
There's no name on that paper. You think you can throw me out of my house? That is against the law. I'm sorry. You can't.
All right, sir, you gotta leave there. You got a court order to move off.
I gotta leave. Look,
If
all
you
my
like,
stuff
you can
is
go
in
to-
here.
you
All
can
my
go to
life
the
is
court.
in here. I've been here for 20 years.
At 3718.
Really?
Just like that's your mother?
This is my grandson.
Okay, just like I was praying to your grandmother. We got a court order to remove all persons from this address.
31.
I need the supervisor to come over here or somebody. Because I'm not, this is not happening to me. They think they can just come and take you out your home. That is a shame.
What you're really describing is the painful outcome that tends to follow when someone stops engaging with the legal process entirely. From the outside, it can look almost unbelievable. A situation where years of payments, equity, and effort in a home are put at risk because the response to a legal dispute wasn't to engage with it, but to ignore it or rely on advice that doesn't match how the system actually works. And that's where things usually go wrong. Instead of showing up to court, presenting a defense, or working through the legal options available, the process gets replaced with beliefs that don't hold up in front of a judge. The problem is, the court doesn't evaluate motivation, frustration, or alternative interpretations of the law. It looks at contracts, payment history, notices, and whether proper procedure was followed. So when someone chooses not to participate in that process, the case doesn't stop. It continues without them. Over time, that gap becomes the turning point. What could have been argued, negotiated, or challenged in a structured way instead moves forward unchecked. And by the time enforcement begins, the opportunity to influence the outcome has often already passed. That's why these situations feel so harsh when they reach the final stage. It isn't about emotion or personal judgment. It's about a process that kept moving while one side stepped away from it entirely.
I need somebody over
You know
y'all.
what eviction is? Okay, so that's what we're doing right now.
You can't evict some. They don't even have my name on their paperwork. They just want to throw me up out of here. And that guy over there did it. He went and got them. With no paperwork, just come to your house. Y'all do that to black people all day long. He got some paperwork with nobody's name on it. And he thinks he can, for the property, not the persons that's in the
Step
property.
out, sir.
You can step out there.
Yeah, you're not in trouble.
I'm scared of these
right?
people.
So it says step out. Okay.
And I don't even know why you're showing it to him. I'm the grown person.
You didn't want to look at it, man.
I don't need that. And my name ain't on
He's
it.
in the door, right?
Yeah, but my name ain't on it.
We're in the state of Florida, right?
He don't even have his
I work
glasses
for the
on.
Orange County Sheriff's Office. You are commanded to remove all persons from 3718
I
Clear
can't
Avenue
believe this. I'm
and
really
put
appalled
this
right
company
now.
in possession of the property.
This is a shame. So I don't know where they think I'm gonna go. I don't have
It
no
don't
place
say
to go. I'm gonna
remove
sit here on
anyone
this damn porch.
to remove the person out the house.
Remove all persons.
That's a shame.
So,
That's-
so your
I'm gonna
best
have to
interest is
sue
to gather
the
your
shit.
belongings because we're
I don't
doing
have
this
to, I don't have nowhere to go.
What you're describing is a common misunderstanding of how legal remedies actually work once a case has reached the court stage. If someone doesn't show up to court or respond to the proceedings, the system doesn't stop and start offering extra options like rent relief or delays automatically. Those kinds of supports usually require active participation, applications, hearings, evidence, and sometimes early intervention before things escalate. Once a court order is issued, especially in something like an eviction, the court has already determined jurisdiction and authority over the matter. At that point, the idea that the court has no jurisdiction doesn't override the order. The jurisdiction has already been established through the legal process that led to the judgment. And that's the real turning point in cases like this. When someone engages early, there are often multiple possible outcomes: payment plans, extensions, negotiations, or assistance programs depending on the situation. But when they don't participate, the court can only rule based on the information it has, and the legal process continues without their input. So the end result isn't usually about belief systems or arguments made outside of court. It comes down to missed opportunities to respond within the system while it was still open to being influenced.
You can go to the court and try to fight this.
Really?
But I
But I
can't-
need to get out of my
I
house
can't
first.
stop this eviction.
That is a shame. And look at you.
Yeah, we don't enjoy doing this.
Yes, you
But
do.
I have a
You
court order to
think
do
you're
it.
some, you think
Okay,
that
so
this is beautiful.
This eviction is
You
going to
love
happen,
to do-
Screen.
I'm not leaving my house. I'm not. I've been living here for 20 years. You want me to just up and leave because you came over here on my porch telling me what I got to do. My name ain't on nothing. So you're gonna take me to jail?
Ma'am, we don't want to do that.
You don't want to, but you will in a heartbeat. You don't care about nobody. You have nothing inside of you.
That is not
Nothing.
preferred
And I pray for you because something gonna happen to both of y'all for coming here trying to remove somebody from their house because of that piece of shit. That ain't, he's a foreigner
It's not a
on my
it's a
land.
cost of the court order.
You will pay dearly, honey, if I
Right.
leave here. Because I don't have no place to go and I'm not leaving. I got too much shit to get out of here. So I don't know what we're gonna do, but you might need to go back to the judge and tell him I said to call me.
That's something you should have did, ma'am.
I don't need to do that. That's not none of it is on my name is not on any. They're not talking to me.
Okay. So you're not a person,
I'm not my name. I have a name and an identity.
but you are a person, right?
It doesn't say person.
Yes,
It
sir.
says it needs to say the person that has been here. The light bill is in my name for
So that's
20
something
years.
you have to talk to the court about.
I don't need to talk to no court. I'm indigenous. This is my land.
Wow, the land of make-believe.
Well, we got a bit of a situation. Bought this house at the auction. She's claiming it's sovereign property. We had to go through the eviction process. She's called me many names.
Looks like she has requested all the officers' names and badge numbers, and they are writing this information down. Yeah, she's asked for all their badge numbers and names. I guess she can file a complaint. She could have showed up for court, by the way, but her reason for not going to the court date was she has a name. Her name is not unknown. She's going back to the door to do something. She unlocked the door, went back in for some reason, don't know why. The police officers are going in with them. They have a car. And for the record, it is a BMW.
At this point, the video wraps up on a sarcastic note, the kind of moment where frustration and humor mix together. The host is looking at a BMW and jokingly betting money that it's probably already on some kind of repossession list. It's less about the car itself and more about the situation surrounding it. The kind of financial chaos where things look fine on the surface, but clearly aren't holding up behind the scenes. After that, he shifts out of the reaction and straight into his usual sign-off. He thanks a viewer on Twitter for sending him the clip, making it clear that most of these cases come directly from people sharing real-world situations they come across. Then he opens the door for more submissions, saying viewers can send videos through email, Discord, or Twitter if they want him to react to more content like this in the future. All the links, he says, are in the description. And just like every video, he closes it out in a familiar rhythm, asking viewers to like the video if they enjoyed it, dislike it if they didn't, and leave a comment sharing their thoughts. Finally, he reminds everyone to subscribe with notifications turned on so they don't miss the next upload.